Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Tank Talk, sponsored by Roger W. Davis Funeral Home, Weaver's Gas and Oil, and South Shore Weight Loss Center. With me here is one of our receivers, Michael Clay, and Michael has had quite a year this year, scoring 9 touchdowns on the receiving end and 2 on kickoff returns. Michael, good to have you on the show.
I appreciate it.
So it's been quite a year for us with the Tanks, starting out 10-1, and this is your first year playing semi-pro too. Talk about how that's been, just a summary of your first year and how it's gone.
I mean, I was kind of shy and nervous at the beginning of the year because it was just my first year and I really didn't know what it was about and stuff. But as the year got on, I just grew up a lot as the year progressed, and I just started listening to my coaches more, doing whatever I got to do for the team, just to make us a better team overall.
Mm-hmm. And talk about what it's been that's made you a great, that's really helped you succeed your first year so well. Because a lot of people come in, especially fresh out of high school, and they really struggle in the beginning. What is it that separated you from some that have really struggled at this level starting out?
I mean, mostly it was my teammates and my coaches. I mean, they was telling me to do stuff. I got a big attitude problem, so I usually don't like to listen to nobody when I get mad and stuff. So, I mean, my brother and my coaches was there for me. They was like, I'm not going to tell you wrong. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. I just hope that you listen so I can make you a better dude for our team, or a better man for our team.
Okay. And talk about, I know one thing that's impacted heavily is your faith in God and your faith in Christ. And talk about that and how it's impacted.
I mean, God's always been with me, and I'm going to always make sure my God is there. So, like, I pray before the game. I always pray. Every time I wake up, I pray, I thank God, because if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be who I am, nor I wouldn't be on this earth. I know what He did for me, and I know what I'm going to do for Him because of what He did for me. And He's really a good man. I mean, He's perfect. So if somebody got a problem and they want to sit down, they can talk to Him, ask Him, help Him. He's going to come the other half. All you got to do is just try to meet Him. He's not going to do it all for you when He sees you not trying. So I pray to my God all the time. He's a good man.
Amen. And talk about this week. I know it's going to be a big challenge. The Lightning, the last time we played them, they defeated us 33-18. You had a miraculous touchdown catch, which showed why they call you Mr. Hands in the first half, and then nearly a kickoff return all the way. Describe what it feels like going into this atmosphere, big rivalry, big division championship coming up.
I mean, I know it's gonna be a difficult game. We're 1-1. We beat them first game. They beat us. We're a pretty good team. They're a pretty good team. It's always been a head-on game for us with them, and they got some good players. We got some good players, and just hopefully this practice will adjust some things so we could come more better than we have last game, and we could be able to prove who we really are.
All right, Michael, Mr. Hands Clay here. We thank you for your support of our program, and stay tuned to watch interviews with Michael and with other players coming up before our game next Saturday at 7 o'clock against the West Virginia Lightning right here at the complex. Thank you, and roll Tanks. Good afternoon. I'm Tyler Rowland with the West Portsmouth Tanks, and welcome to Tank Talk. It's sponsored by Roger W. Davis Funeral Home, Weaver's Gas and Oil, and South Shore Weight Loss Center. With me today are 2 of our offensive linemen on our line, which had All-American honors this year for how they helped plow the offense to a lot of success on the ground and both through the air. With me is the 2 players known as the Big Uglies, Chad Bennett and Jeremy Maxie. Guys, good to have you on the show.
Thank you. How you doing?
Hey, good to see you here, brother. And we're gonna start out talking about, I know one thing that probably has you guys fired up. As good as this 10-1 season has been, the last time against the Lightning, we really struggled on the ground and really struggled to generate offense. Talk about that some, and how coming up we play these guys for the division championship, and how we're going to have to adjust to be competitive.
I don't know. We got a lot of adjusting to do. We went up there and took a pounding from them, and I look at it be a lot different. We made a lot of adjustments. We're getting ready to put in this 3-hour practice today as soon as this interview's over. I don't know. I think offense going 4 or 5 touchdowns. I could say 30-6.
I mean, as far as up there, we did roll up there with a very light offensive line. Guys were playing positions that they hadn't played all season. We had to pull a couple guys off the D-line to help rotate. And like I said, I think we played catch ball a little bit because, you know, it's an offense like our national championship offensive line from when we all played together at the Warriors. That unit had been playing together for so many years. It was just like we knew, like if Chad was going to take a block to the outside, I knew just by him, you know, giving me a nod that I had to take somebody else. And it's the gel of an offensive line. People don't realize that. I'm sorry, I know that those guys score touchdowns, but if you don't have us, you're not going anywhere because that quarterback ain't throwing and the running back ain't going anywhere.
I mean, we have to, so we've threw some players around the last couple of weeks, but we've been playing together, so we're starting to gel.
Yeah.
It's going to be all seriousness, so it's going to be a good game.
Absolutely.
Lightning's going to come out and try to run the ball, and we're going to come out and try to run the ball.
You know, that's a demoralizing thing for a football team. Everyone, if you can take 5-6 yards and march down the field, you just made their defense look really, really bad. You know, passing, anyone can drop back and throw a bomb and it's a 50-50 shot. But running the ball and gaining yardage, that's skill.
Right, and talk about how you guys have, because you talked about the championship team, and you guys this year had to overcome a ton of injuries, and
Absolutely.
I know as experienced as you guys are in semi-pro, I don't think we've had, even with the Warriors, a line with that many injuries. Talk about what that's been like and how it's just, developing that cohesion.
I mean, it's definitely frustrating. I played,
Absolutely.
we had 10, 11 games. I think I played next to somebody different from each game, at least 7, 6 times. Absolutely. So it's already getting a little gel. Sometimes throwing guys in there, so you got to tell them what to do and stuff, which is fine. But I don't know, man. All the lines kind of like secondary. It's all about playing well.
I think also losing our quarterback, because that's another thing. An offensive line, they sync with the QB. And it's like you're his puppets, and in a fashion, you know what he's going to do. Again, it's just simple knowing how he's going to take the snap, move, or make the play. We've played with Job for many, many games and knew that on any breakdown, he was going to make a play, which, we as a unit have to now readjust to Snook or to Luke Brown. And that's just a tough thing to do on the fly. Because, we went down and played the Dukes, and, we had no clue what was going to happen, and then Luke stepped up. And it took us 3 quarters, and we ended up dominating that 4th quarter, and they couldn't hang with us because, we finally adjusted and, we were taking care of business.
And finally, what is it at the semi-pro level? You guys have both you've had multiple All-American appearances, and what is it at the semi-pro level that truly makes a distinguished offensive line?
Yeah, you have to hate. I'm sorry, you have to hate the person that's across from you for 48 minutes.
And honestly, at this level, it's what makes a good O-line. It's just not some of these O-lines are just big. You got to be athletic. You got to be mean. You got to know football, and you got to attack. So as long as you're mean and can attack, and you're athletic, you're going to be good.
Our offensive line coach he's one of the best.
Yeah,
and we have one of the greatest offensive line coaches in this league. I don't care what anyone says.
He's definitely the best.
He knows. He reads up. We're not just doing hey, take a step here and go. There's different techniques that he studies every week, and he brings them to us. Age, maturity as a line. That's
gotta have a leader too.
Yeah, I have to have someone step up. Chad is in the huddle. I don't really know of anyone else that will talk other than him and the QB because he notices things, he picks things up. I am more that emotional type person, and I want when I get frustrated and I want something to go right, I'm gonna flip and I'm gonna say what I have to say, and they're like, yeah, let's get it done. Try to pick them up emotionally.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm glad we got it home.
Absolutely.
Here we are, 40 guys in practice. So. We're definitely getting ready for the Lightning. I hope they're getting ready to.
Yeah, they better bring it, because we are.
It'll be a big one. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, remember this Saturday will be the game. Saturday at 7 o'clock here at the complex. We need you to show up, be loud, and cheer these Tanks on, because we got a great shot. And I mean, it's good. The Lightning they're gonna bring it. So we need a great turnout here. Thank you for your listening, and roll Tanks.
Okay.
Roll Tanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Tank Talk. I'm Tyler Rowland, and this program is sponsored by Roger W. Davis Funeral Home, Weaver's Gas and Oil, and South Shore Weight Loss Center. And with me here we have Richard Elery, one of our All-American defensive players. Sometimes I wonder if he's human or if he's superhuman when you look at his stats. You've got 8 interceptions, 5 of which have been returned for touchdowns, 377 interception return yards, and 3 special teams touchdowns via punt return. Richard, good to have you on the show.
Nice to have you too.
Now tell me, last year you had a solid season. You had 2 interceptions for 80 yards. What was it that led to this year just exploding compared to last?
Well, this year, as soon as the last season was over, Coach Rowland worked with me a whole lot in the off season, and he expected a lot out of me. And I went through the transition when he switched me to free safety from linebacker, from the outside linebacker position, and basically, my job is to make sure nothing goes behind me at all, so.
Okay, and talk about what that was like, because that's especially at the semi-pro level, that's a big transition to make. Talk about what that was like, switching from linebacker to free safety.
Like I said, it wasn't too hard for me switching, but when I was more at outside linebacker, I was making more contact. I was up to the ball, more close to the ball, and I was making more tackles and stuff closer to the ball. But when I'm at DB, my job is to cover everything that comes in the air. So yeah, I'm more of a cover in the pass.
Okay, and talk about this year, the defense, how you felt it's gone. I know it was off to quite a run, especially early on. We've had some injuries, but tell me your thoughts on this year. Did you expect us to be as dominant as we were?
Yeah, I actually expected us to be even more dominant than we are now. But, a lot of stuff happened. A lot of players, not here now. A lot of injuries came in between. But, from the start of the season, we've handled all our business. So.
And as Coach Rice was talking about earlier, we've worked, the past 11 months really to put this season together. And now that it's gone, 10-1, and we have a shot at the championship. Describe your thoughts and your feelings going into the game this week against a tough Lightning team.
Well, it's a lot of emotions, because they gave us our first loss of the season, and they're a good team. So. To win it, it'll mean a lot to me to win it, and advance to the conference. The league championship. So, it'll mean a lot to win it. Definitely, like I said, it's gonna be a lot of emotion, a lot of hard hitting. We got to come out.
All right, that's Richard Elery, and keep watch for interviews with Richard here and with players like Richard on the team. We've got a big game this Saturday coming up against the West Virginia Lightning. It'll be 7 o'clock p.m. here at the complex. Be sure to show up and be loud. Our team, our program, our community would love to see you here cheering us on against a tough Lightning team. Thank you for listening in, and roll Tanks. Good afternoon. I'm Tyler Rowland, and welcome to this edition of Tank Talk, brought to you by Roger W. Davis Funeral Home, Weaver Gas and Oil, and South Shore Weight Loss Center. We thank you and appreciate your support for the Tanks. And today we'll be interviewing our quarterback, Snook Martin. Snook, good to have you on the show.
Appreciate it.
Now this has been quite a season for you. You're used to playing defense. You have a Defensive Player of the Year award under your belt. You transitioned to wide receiver and played return, and we're having a real nice year there with a couple touchdowns receiving and a kick return all the way against the Wildcats. And against Butler County, everything changed. And Job got hurt, and you stepped into quarterback. Describe your feelings going into that. Just that's a big transition.
There's no bad feelings towards that. It's just when a player goes down, it sucks that it happens at that circumstance, but it's football. But when a player goes down, someone has to step up and make a play for it. That's the name. I mean, that's the game of the game of football. One goes down, one man steps up.
And you're used to making plays all over the field, including 2 long runs and then eventually the game-winning touchdown the last game against a very good Butler County Broncos team. What is it you have in you that leads you to, because it seems like no matter what position you're in, what you're doing, if you're on the field, you're making one play or another. What is it that you have, what quality that you have?
Well, I'm very observant. So I was thinking about from when we went in at halftime how the pass, it was working, but we really wasn't getting down the field as much. So when I would see how the ends were dropping, I picked up on that. So I told myself that I'm come out, read off of that, and go off of them. So when they would slant down and come downhill, I ran right behind them. Just a game plan.
Yeah. And now coming up, we've got a very big game against the Lightning. If you're first tuning into the season by chance, then the first time we played the Lightning here and beat them 32-18. But then they got their revenge the last time we played them, winning 33-18. And this time we got them, thankfully, at home for the division championship. Describe your thoughts going into that one, given the practice today and given what happened last time.
Oh, I'm excited. It's going to be a very hostile environment, considering the last game. Very excited. We just need everybody to come out. From last game, we didn't have too many to show up. We had a lot of people missing, and they came up off of that. But we come out and have our full team to play this game, I believe we'll come on top.
Well said, Snook. And thank you for being on the show today.
Appreciate you having me.
Glad to have you. And if you're watching this, be sure to keep watch on our Facebook page, as we will post Tank Talk interviews with Snook and with other players throughout the week. And be sure to come out on Saturday on the 26th. We really need you to show up and cheer our team on. The Lightning are a tough program. They're a great program, and they'll be bringing their A game. And we definitely need you to show up in the stands and cheer hard. Thank you for listening, and roll Tanks.
Yeah, come get tanked.